Last week on this program, we walked through with an oil economist how Russia is probably selling as much or more oil globally than it did before the Western sanctions, because buying from India is up 650%, according to Rystad Energy. You know all the news. You've heard all the talk about what may happen at G7. Would that work?
I'm not so sure it would dissuade its major clients right now from purchasing anymore. They've established fairly reliable links. They were getting preferential prices, and there would have to be more robust action trying to convince those clients, not exactly what form that would exactly take. Perhaps more moral suasion would be in order.
Do you think we could, really, unless China and India get on board, this is just going to be talk by the West while Asia and the East just buys up all the cheaper Russian crude that they can? Think there's any shot that India, China won't, but could India come on board with some kind of G7 deal? They were apparently involved in some preliminary talks.
Well, certainly, I think if there is some sort of a deal with India, it would probably be in limited scope. Because at the end of the day, it's hard to imagine without significant increases from OPEC sources and others to supply them. They do need the crude. And I think at this stage, it's difficult to ask India to make fundamental sacrifices for this. There would have to be some sort of alternative for that product they're getting from Russia right now.
Yeah. You got over 1 billion people just trying to eat and cool and heat their homes in the winters and summers. The politicians there are not going to face any kind of a backlash from their population because they lack fossil fuels. Scott Sheffield, Bart, who is the head of Pioneer, probably one of, if not the most widely respected overall macro voice in U.S. oil, said over the weekend that he thought oil would stay above $100 a barrel for 5 years. Do you agree with Scott?
Well, our forecast is a little lower going forward. We do expect OPEC start delivering more, maybe in August or so. Nigeria is on record as saying that they could, by August, increase production by about 500,000 barrels or so. OPEC has committed to increase supply over the next few months by 648,000 barrels a day.
Yeah.
Though, while I say that, I fully acknowledge that the OPEC's ability to deliver, particularly a few nations which have a fairly robust quota, they simply were unable to. It remains to see whether or not OPEC and Saudi Arabia can deliver more crude to these world markets. I think that is a big risk. I think if that were to happen, we could see prices start coming off. We do, in fact, expect prices to spike a bit more through the best or the worst of the driving season and then come off. We do expect that very, very robust monetary policy tightening will ultimately have an impact on demand as well, and speculative interest, which may, we think, drop it below $100.
I want one very quickly. It didn't get a lot of attention. Ecuador, their energy minister, saying yesterday that they could cut off all oil production in 48 hours because of protests, riots, lack of labor, lack of raw materials. Ecuador is not a big producer. But in this market, is there any margin for global error? I mean, if you have a couple 100,000 barrels a day come out of Ecuador, that's got to be made up somewhere, Bart. It feels like this is a market that's on the razor's edge where in Ecuador may actually matter.
Yes, well, I think any production, couple of even 100,000 barrels a day would make a difference. Certainly psychological difference to the market. It could mean whether or not some speculative interest wants to go long or not long, or cover shorts or not. Ultimately, the market is fairly tight. We do have a problem coming up with natural gas as well, and that means we would probably see more than normal seasonally distillate demand. Wherever you could substitute, you would try. So yes, any meaningful disruption could matter. But conversely, any surprise to the upside would matter as well. Let's say Nigeria's ability to deliver the 500,000 barrels they've said they might.